This is the collection from the last week. This is me prepping to do a Flosstube. And I'm going to go ahead and do it today just because I want to put this stuff away. And so if you give me a minute, I'll get settled and get caught up. Hello, Flosstube. Welcome to Grandma's World. I'm Debbie, and I am not in a good place right now. I am very angry on a couple of levels, and I'm just going to get the anger stuff out of the way. The reason that I came to do this is to calm myself down and try to get myself in a better place without going to the candy store and buying a 2-pound box of C's just for myself. So what has happened, two things have happened. First of all, is something that's been kind of lingering for a while, and I just haven't made a Flosstube video since it happened. But my mother has now twice, I got her into watching YouTube. She's really having fun with it. But she has twice now told me that people are saying not to go watch my channel on YouTube. And I couldn't figure out what she's talking about. I don't have a lot of subscribers. I'm not doing this to collect subscribers. I'm doing this to try to reach out to a community that I enjoy and I have a lot of admiration for. And I'm doing it wrong in the YouTube world. If you want to increase your subscriber base, you have to be very consistent and posting things regularly, and I don't do that. So I couldn't figure out what she was talking about. Why would anybody be out there saying not to come and look at my channel? And so I went looking around Flosstube, and I still have not run into anybody in the cross-stitch community saying not to go look at Debbie's channel. But there is a woman out there who is a monster, who has the name Debbie, who spells it the same way I do, who advocates abusing children as discipline. And I can tell you right now, my children didn't even get spanked. They didn't even have their hands slapped. I am not a disciplined by violence person. I am anti-violence everywhere. I'm a real peacenik, and I live it. Mostly hope that that's just not true. I hope I'm not being confused with this person just because we spell our name the same way. There are hundreds of women that spell the name that way. I made it up. My name's Debbie. As a child, it was D-E-B-B-I-E. I hit the age of 14. I said, well, that's a little girl's name. And so I changed the spelling to D-E-B-I. And like I said, there are hundreds of us out there who must have had the same idea at about the same time. At any rate, that's not me. We'll leave that there. The more recent thing that happened that has me really upset. When COVID hit, in kind of, I want to say January of 2020, October of 2019 is when we first started getting wind that something was going on and it was ugly. And I started being careful with myself at about that time. And then by January, February, we all knew that we were in danger from this. And so I made masks, and I made masks for my mother and my sister. And I don't know if I made any for my sister, but I made sure that my mom and I both had good fitting masks. And then we tuckered in. We did not, my mother didn't go anywhere from March to, I don't know when the last time she was out of her house. I know she was tucked in for about a year. She's 89. She has congestive heart failure and some level of kidney failure. And she was completely at risk for that year and a half that we've been super, super careful. So we kept her in the house. With her, you know, she was happy to do that. She wasn't suffering or anything, but she stayed home. For the most part, the rest of my family stayed home. My sister had to continue to go to work. She works for a big construction company. She's the first person you see when you walk in the door. She's very capable, and so they've given her a lot of extra work to do. And they shut everything down except for 3 employees, just to keep the phones answered and the bills paid and to do all that. And she was one of those 3. She has multiple comorbidities, so she was scared the whole time, kept her mask on, constantly Lysoling the counters and all of that. And she did, other than that, she didn't go out. I was in the midst of a home and garden renovation, and someone needed, and I needed to go to the hardware store to continue that, and someone needed to keep my mom in groceries. And so I said, look, I'm going to be out anyway with my mask on and my hand sanitizer and the whole thing, but I have to go out to finish these projects. I will be the one to pick up groceries for her. And so I've been doing that for 1.5 years, and it finally got to the point. She was the first one we got vaccinated, got her down to her, where her place was that she could get a shot, and that was me going 25 miles in that direction to pick her up and take her 50 miles in that direction to get the shot, and then back to her house. But you do what you do to protect your loved ones, right? So she got vaccinated, I got vaccinated, my sister got vaccinated, everybody got vaccinated, all the adults. And once all of the adults in the family were vaccinated, then we started to kind of gather together. There were birthdays in that point that, or I want to say in the whole year, maybe 3 different times that my brother needed to be part of either a birthday celebration for my mom or Mother's Day for my mom, or there was one time when he came over just to have a conversation. Always, he would keep his mask on the whole time. When we were indoors, during that time, you had to be that careful, especially around my mother. So at any rate, the family opened up a little bit, and my son started bringing my 2 grandchildren. I had a grandson born in the middle of the COVID lockdown that I didn't meet until he was about 3 months old. And then it was just a matter of them saying, look, we're going to be in the backyard for a while. You want to come over and see him? And so I stayed like 10 feet away with my mask on, went around, didn't go through the house, went around to the backyard where they were, and just so I could look at him before he was out of that smushy infant. I think he was, like I said, about 2 or 3 months old at that point. And we're just being careful, just being super careful. And now what has happened, I mean, I could go on with all the examples of things that we didn't do because it was dangerous to do them. And yesterday, I took my mother to she's been a member of the same quilt club for 45 years. She has not seen those people. We only started going back to have lunch with them about 4 or 5 weeks ago. And mostly, keeping the mask on, getting into a restaurant, sitting and having the meal, and then going back out. We've been to one person's house in that time, and then yesterday we went to lunch at a favorite restaurant of hers with this group. There were a total of 6 of us there. Mom and I had been vaccinated. I don't know about the others. Mom and I know one other person has been vaccinated for sure. The others I'm not sure of. They're all elderly, and some of them have issues that might prevent them from being vaccinated. And so I honestly don't know who is and who isn't. I'm afraid to go check my phone because I did ask that question. Because what happened was that I'd been home, I'd dropped my mom off, and I'd been home for a few hours, and a text message came through from one of those people that was at that lunch. She had been gone all weekend to a different town, probably about 250 miles away from here, staying with friends and families to support her grandchildren or great-grandchildren. I can't remember what they are. She just turned 80. Or she will turn 80. She's 79 now, so they could be great-grandchildren. But at any rate, they were in a tournament, a sports tournament of some kind, and she entertained us all for 2.5 hours, telling us all about it. And we all went home and laughing and talking loudly so that she could be heard over everybody else talking. And then we get home, and last night she sends a message that 2 of those people that she had been with all weekend had tested positive for COVID. Now, the COVID vaccine isn't absolute protection. It's 75% effective in protecting you from getting the disease, at least from getting it badly enough that you would need to be hospitalized, but you can still get it even though you're vaccinated. You can still get sick. And for someone like my mom, even though she's vaccinated, if she gets it with heart failure and kidney failure at 89 years old, what are her chances? And this woman, she went out around kids who they can't be vaccinated. They're not old enough yet, and they're all together from all over the state, all over the country, having this big tournament, and of course they got it. And then she brought it to us and exposed all of us to it. And so I will not be seeing my grandchildren again. My son had been bringing them over Fridays for 2 hours so that I could get acquainted, and as I was getting to know, I was finally getting hugs and kisses Grandma, hugs and kisses. And now I have to say, you can't come because I've been exposed. I am vaccinated, but that doesn't mean I can't get it. And we're just going to have to wait. You're going to have to stay away until I can figure this out. So now we're all on pins and needles. Is my mom going to get it? Do we have it? Can we pass it to someone we love that's not vaccinated because they can't be vaccinated? And some of these people, they're not vaccinated because it's a political thing for them. And you know what? You're not my friend. If you put me and my grandchildren and my mother in danger like that to make some kind of political point, we're not friends. So I'm mad, and I said, let's just go spend the day doing a Flosstube video and drowning in fiber and floss and just kind of turn this around and get something positive going. So, finishes. I do have a finish. I finished, all right, let me see if I have the picture here. This is, it's a Mermaid Life by Tiny Modernist with adjustments to make it fit me. And the story behind this, I have a bare spot in my guest room that I am decorating in an ocean theme, and I have one space where I'm going to put my writing desk, and above it is all mermaid. That whole area of the room is mermaid themed. And there's an open spot on the wall that I wanted to fill, and went looking, and it had to be, I have mermaid pieces. I have a couple of mermaid pieces. I have one for sure by Primitive Hair, Mermaid of Salem Bay, I think it's called. Beautiful. Bought the fabrics. I'm gonna have to do it on linen, and I'm not a linen girl, but I will gut it out because it's so beautiful on that fabric. And I think there's another one in there too by her, but I needed something more cartoony for this particular wall, and so I went looking, and immediately the first thing that popped up was It's a Mermaid Life. I got started on it. The first thing I noticed with it was that there's a lot of palm trees on this, and I despise palm trees, so I said, well, I'm not doing those. And so I started with this mermaid here on the rock, and I said, I'm not doing the palm trees. So I got her done. And as I was working on it, I'm looking at the other things that are not resonating with me. To put this kind of work in, I wanted it really to reflect the part of the ocean that I go on all the time, which is the Channel Islands Harbor. If I were a bird, I could be in the ocean, over the ocean, in about 2 minutes. But my roads don't go that way. They kind of snake around, so it takes me about 15 minutes to get there. And it's not a beach that, you know, it's not some place to enjoy. It's just a refuge there, and I don't stick around. But I do go up the coast to Santa Barbara, and I go on whale watches in the Santa Barbara Channel. And the channel is the home of the Channel Islands. And there is kind of an iconic island formation there called Anacapa. And this is representing the Anacapa Arch. And there is a lighthouse on Anacapa. So what I decided to do was make this look like the island as I see it, as we leave for a whale watch in the morning with the marine layer down. And what you will see out there when it's foggy like that, the ocean water looks gray and the fog is down, and there's usually some cloud cover or heavy fog in the air, and you'll see the island as just a black shadow out in the distance. And so that's what I wanted it to look like. So that was one change I made. In order to make that change and to string that across the piece like this, I also had to take out this boat and this set of islands here, and I'm not sure what those are. It gives me kind of a Hawaii feel, but I've never been to Hawaii, so I'm not sure. So I took all of this out and all the palm trees, and I put my island and my lighthouse in. Because I had the Anacapa lighthouse in there, I didn't need this one, so I took it out as well. Then I had an empty space here, and so as I started to work at it, what she designed in was a whale that's blue. Blue whales aren't this color blue, but I got the joke, I got the idea. It's a blue whale. So I got the whale, and then there's another one way back here in the distance. But when I go out, we see sometimes mothers and calves, and so what I did was do another blue whale here. And then I put the little one next to it, and now I have a mother and baby. The boat, I just changed the sail color because when I go out on a boat called the Condor Express, which is a blue and white boat. And so to reflect that, I changed the sail colors to blue on this schooner. It was so much fun to do. I just loved stitching all of these little figures. When I got down to here, by the time I got down to here, I was pretty well immersed in the Representation Matters movement. And my best friend, the one that turned me on to whales, well, I was already turned on to whales, but turned me on to whale watching, it is a person of color. And so I decided to change this mermaid out and make it represent my friend here. Other than that, oh, and I changed this down here. This was a confetti heavy sand bar down here, or the bottom of the sea, and I just used variegated for that. So it's finished. What happened is, once I know where I'm going to put something and kind of know how I want to finish it, then I really make myself stay focused on it and I get it done. And what happened was I found this piece, and you kind of have to imagine this. There was a jute cord holding these three pieces together. So there's this one with the jellyfish. This one had a conch shell here. This had a conch shell here that I popped off. And then the bottom one was the scallop shell. And it's kind of a, just a balsa wood color, but I put a whitewash on it to lighten it up a little bit. And then I painted the jellyfish in bright white. This, once I get this mounted, it will fit over here. And then I will hang these other pieces so that you can see. Where am I? All right. You'll be able to see the wall behind it, which is a dark teal. I was having a little bit of a struggle though. I love the jellyfish. I'm not going to take it out of there. But the other two, I was feeling ambivalent about, especially the conch shell. So when it popped off, I didn't put it back on immediately. Hello, focus. Thank you. And then I went and watched the Cornhusker State Stitchers, and Jamie had just finished a beautiful kit that she'd been working on for a while. It was an ocean view out through a window. So you got the edge of the window and the curtains and then the ocean view out of it. And she had put it on a fairly large piece that I think probably was similar to this, different colors, but it looked kind of shiplappy to me. But she had draped a piece of fishnet up in the corner and then had put some shells around the edges. And I went on a whale watch and went from the watch to the pier that's near the harbor. It's called Stearns Wharf Pier. And since I'd been there before COVID, my favorite gift store had gone out of business. Those poor people, they were hit first by the fire, the Thomas fire, had pretty well shut. It had discouraged people from going to Santa Barbara for vacation. So that hit their business. And then just as it was starting to pick up again, the rainy season hit, and the mudslides in Montecito completely blocked the highway for several days. And people just didn't want to go take the risk of that happening again. And so they had canceled their plans for Santa Barbara. And then just as we're coming out of from that and business is starting to pick up along the coast again, COVID shuts everything down, and I lost my friends, Melissa and John. I don't know where they went. And when I went back on Tuesday to see just if the chance that they were still there, they're pretty little kitschy. They had lots of beach things. She had a really good eye for inexpensive souvenir type beach things that would be attractive to tourists, but also they weren't just cheap junk. And I bought a lot of stuff for my decorating from her when she was open, and she and her husband John both ran it. And John made Christmas ornaments and stuff for the shop. So anyway, I kind of grieved. I don't know where they ended up. They were very kind, lovely people, and I enjoyed visiting with them. And it was just a sweatshirt shop now. I think it's supposed to be an art gallery. There was art on the walls, but to keep it going, you have to sell souvenirs of some kind there. And so they had a different person was there, and they didn't have what I was looking for. But that space had been broken up into there was another little shop broken into it that was all light and fun, and she carried shells and gemstones. And so I said, this is exactly what I want. So I'm going to somehow work into this some of the shells that I bought. I particularly like this mollusk shell because it has tiny little barnacles on it. I don't know if you can see those. Yeah. And the colors are right. So yeah, I'm going to have some fun actually finishing this, and once it's done, I'll bring it around into another floss tube and share it out when it's finally finished. So that was my finish, and it's my only finish. I have been just enjoying, on days when I have the energy at the end of the day, which is most days, I go in at 7 into my room, my stitchy room, my sewing room, my craft room, my collections room, and I stitch on whatever I feel like. I don't have a rotation. I've tried that. doesn't work for me. I've tried the challenges. I hope to try again with the monthly magazine, the magazine monthly challenge that Carolyn Zook and Robin Hall run. This year it was just not possible because of the house renovation and the guard and the COVID and all of that. I couldn't keep my mind on it. But I'm hoping to do it for real next year. But for this year, it was just, that was my escape. And so I just did whatever I wanted to do. And so what I've done, I have I got the words done on a Stitch for Sweet Freedom. They're my least favorite part of any project that has words. I don't like doing the words. So I kind of make myself, I don't know where this Puritan thing came from because we don't have Puritans. Our earliest immigrant ancestor went to Jamestown in 1622, not up into Massachusetts. So I don't know where this came from, but I always feel like you have to do the worst of it first, and then you're rewarded with the fun later. So I got some of that done, and I've been working on, and I assume y'all know what that looks like, but maybe not. Do I have? I might not have grabbed her. No. If it rolls through here, I did show you, right? I showed you at the beginning the mess on my table and why I'm doing this. At any rate, I got the words done on a Stitch for Sweet Freedom, and then I've been doing some work on Shores of Hawk Run Hollow. This is the original design by Carriage House Samplings. Again, I'm switching it around some to suit a story that I want to hang on my wall. It's the story of the Whydah pirate ship in Sam Bellamy. And I bought a total of 3 Carriage House Samplings books. I bought Shores of Hawk Run Hollow, and then I supplemented it with this piece, this block out of Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow, and this one out of Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow, because the story of the Whydah is the story of Sam Bellamy, who goes off for a year to make his fortune so he can win his lady love. This one here. And 500 feet off the coast of Cape Cod, where she lives, a hurricane takes the Whydah, which is his ship, and flips it upside down, and everybody's killed, including Sam. So I went to the Whydah Museum. It's called the Real Pirate Museum on Cape Cod. It is the best museum I've ever been to, and I fell in love with the story of Sam Bellamy and the Whydah. So I did some work on that. I do a lot of frogging when I'm working at night because I just am tired usually from the day and get off track. But let's see, I don't think I have my cards here. Just a second, use. What's behind it? Everything's called for here except the fabric. I did go hunting and find a different fabric, but all of the colors in this block I pretty much stuck with what she called for. Didn't like the little, I guess they're supposed to be distant stars that she put in the picture. They looked to me like gnats, but when I said no, stick to the plan here, they're actually red stars. They're little dots of red pin stitches that match these stars. And I had the moon itself pretty much done, not these boxes inside, but the outline done, and then I was off so far that I ended up having to frog it, which is unfortunate, but as long as I'm sitting in the quiet listening to Flosstube and making the up and down motion. I don't really care if I have to frog something out. I also, for Jolly July, decided to work on this Christmas ornament. I did not get much done because of the other things I wanted to work on. But this is from Just Cross Stitch Christmas Edition 2020, last year's Christmas edition. And this is the one that I wanted to do. In the guest room, which has an ocean theme, I'm going to put a small Christmas tree, and I was hoping to do some kind of ocean themed ornaments for that and build that collection up over time. I had this piece of fabric that it was the first piece of fabric I ever ordered from Etsy. The company is in France. I still love it, but it was a small piece and I didn't know what I was going to use it for. And so when I saw that this polar bear, I said, well, I'll use it for that. So that's upside down. So I got started on it. I got the Merry up here for Merry Christmas, and I decided to use a dark green étoile for this, and I am loving what this looks like. I don't think you get the effect here. Oh yeah, it's a little bit sparkly. So it's kind of, I got the feeling that she was aiming for kind of an Aurora Borealis feel to this. And so I picked this color for the sparkle. So then I got tired of working with the dark green on the dark blue and decided I needed to do some polar bear. And I think that is, I don't have it here. I don't think it was a called for color. Let me see what she called for. It's not Whisper. I didn't use that. I've used very few of the called fors on this one. It was calling for Ecru, Rainbow Gallery Whisper Ecru, and I think I just grabbed either Grits or White Lightning as a variegated. Another one that I want to do from that issue is this one, but I haven't even started that. All right, just clearing off this table. Another piece I've been working on, well, let's do this one first. I would like to have this finished for Thanksgiving. As soon as I saw it, I fell in love with it. It's by Cherry Hill Stitchery. It's called An Autumn Wish. May our lives be full of thanks and giving. And I would love to have it done by then. And I'm making progress on it. I finished the white pumpkin. It is not showing up as well as I'd hope against this fabric, so I'm going ahead and back stitching. I'm using this color and then back stitching the whole white pumpkin just to set it off a little bit more. But I love doing these curly Q things. They go really fast and they look really neat. And I didn't continue with the leaves down here because I didn't have the right color. So I set it aside for a little while, but I try to get some done on that every week in hopes of having it done by Thanksgiving. I don't know how I'm going to finish it. I don't have a lot of Thanksgiving decor. I do put some stuff on my entry shelf when I have time, but usually by the time I take down the Halloween, it's almost time to start the Christmas. And I appreciate just seeing the clean empty for a little bit. Kind of gives my mind a break. And then this is one, my guest room is almost done. It's almost finished. And again, when I can see where it's going to go and know how I want to finish it, I really start focusing on things. So one of my favorite memories, one of my favorite places to visit now that I've been there a couple of times is Ogunquit in Maine. It's a town on the coast of Maine, the southern eastern coast of Maine. My friends live in northern Massachusetts, and so each time I go to visit them, we drive up to have lobster in Perkins Cove in Ogunquit. And the first time we went, my friend had bought us a shore tour that took us all the way up the shore from Perkins Cove in Ogunquit to see the lighthouse in York, Maine. And it's nicknamed the Nubble Lighthouse. And she doesn't have, I don't think she has its real name here. No, she's only called it the Nubble, which is what everybody calls it, but it has an official name that I can never remember. Oh, I have it on the calendar on the wall. It's called Cape Nettic, but they call it the Nubble Light. Any rate, this is a Donna Bayless chart for her business by the Bay NeedleArts, and she is in York, Maine, which is where the Nubble is. And I have a nice collection of her things. There's just something about it, to me, her things really capture that part of the Maine coast. And now that that room is almost done, I'm currently painting the writing desk, and it will be in, and I will get it's a Mermaid Life fully finished and up on the wall and get that done. And this will be the last thing. There's one space empty in the wall for this, and I said, okay, I really want to get that done, and then that room will be finished, fully finished. One of my fully finished projects. So this is where I've gotten with this. And I just love working on it. It's a simple Whydah fiddler ivory cloth. Is it a fiddler? Yeah, it's a fiddler. It's just so easy to work on, and it brings back nice memories for me. And I'm making good progress on it, so it shouldn't be too much longer, and I'll be able to fully finish this and get it up in that room. So I'm happy about that. And then wasn't that a song? No, this is where this goes. I'll put it back in here. Yes, this is a Garon toten bag, project bag. I'm a member of the club. And this one is perfect for that. And then I bought the little one that matches the lining for notions. Not to worry, when I finish it, I have plenty of ocean themed things to work on. So that, one more thing that I'm working on, I put together a kit to take to my mother's house. Pam of Just Keep Stitchin' showed a piece that she had done. It was a kit that she had been working on for several years, and she worked on and she finished it, and it was based on a piece of art by Charles Wysocki. One of the things that has kept my mother going during the COVID lockdown was jigsaw puzzles, and that's something we would do. I would visit her 3 days a week, and I would say 2 out of the 3 days a week we would work on a puzzle, and they were always a Charles Wysocki, even if we had to do the same one over and over again. She and I both like the 300-piece puzzles. We can finish them in the time that I was there. We could do some other things, plus we usually had time, especially on a long day that I would be there, to finish a puzzle. So it's a nice memory coming out of COVID for me. And when I saw the kit, the picture that Pam had done, I said, oh, I need to go see if there are any more of those available. It was an older kit. And I went to eBay and I found this one. This is not the one that she had done, but this is a, I believe, 1999 kit. It's called Cozy Cove. It's also Charles Wysocki. It looks like it's full coverage. It is not. The kit included this ivory colored Whydah, and where that color appears in the kit, in the picture, is just the blank fabric. But there's certainly a lot of detail in here, and I feel like it's 20 count Whydah, and I work on it at my mom's, and I feel like I've actually accomplished something with it. Is that upside down? No, it's right. This is right side up. And then I look back at the design and see what I've just done, and I have actually just finished this field and these two little rooftops here in this piece. But that's okay. I can be working on this. I just take it to my mom's, and if she's feeling in a let's stitch mood, I work on it there, and if not, I just don't even get it out. I just work at it at her house. Maybe when I finish some of these other things that I want for my house, maybe I'll just keep bringing it home and pulling it out and doing some more work on it, because I really do love it, and it would work in my decor plans for the rest of my house. All right. Oh, look who's in here. Oh, that's not it. So I think that's all the stitching I've done. And then I have Stitchy Kindness to share. This isn't really a cross stitch thing to share, but I have a lot of quilt fabric that I've collected. I have probably a half dozen projects where I want the product. And one of the things that I learned in COVID is I don't enjoy quilting that much. I still want to do those projects because I still want those products, but I'm in the process of kind of purging some of my fabric. Once the local quilt club gets going again, I'll donate it. They collect donations, and they have people that will collect the fabric and make a quilt top, and then they'll bring it back because they don't want to do the quilting, but someone else doesn't mind doing the quilting, so they'll do the quilting on it, and they don't want to do the binding. I think there's a jackhammer in my yard. They don't want to do the binding, and so they'll give it to someone else to do it. So anyway, I'm collecting these boxes of quilt fabric that I see. I already know to finish all of the projects that I want to finish in cross stitch. It looks like I'm going to probably take a punch needle for a couple of projects at least, and I'm going to be distracted now by the jackhammer. My handyman is trying to get out. We had a basketball hoop back thing in our yard for years. The kids almost never used it when they were at home because the driveway is at a slant and the backstop was like this up high, and that just didn't work. So they preferred to go walk to a park or just practice during practice. You know, they weren't out there shooting baskets all the time. So we wanted it down, and when my late husband put it in, the base of it has to be 2 feet deep. They can't budge it. They got the backstop down and they got the post out, but they can't get this piece of cement out. And so he went, the handyman, I just adore Handyman Jim. Handyman Jim went and rented a jackhammer, and so he's out there now trying to learn how to safely use a jackhammer. See if that thing's gonna work. So we'll try to ignore him for now, let him do his thing. At any rate, Stitchy Kindness. One of the fabrics I will not give up. I don't know what I'm going to do with it all yet, but I won't give it up, is my collection of Gasleys, of the Gasley family. And my daughter-in-law, when I mentioned on Facebook one time that I just love the Gasleys, she went to Etsy and bookmarked one of the Etsy craftspeople that was making things using the gas sleeves. And so when it was time for my birthday, months later, she went back there and bought me a notions bag using the gas sleeves. That was so thoughtful of her. I'm so touched by this. And then it was kind of heavy, and when I opened it up, there were gas sleeves companion pieces in it. So now when I go to do what I want to, when I ever decide what I'm going to do with my gas sleeves fabric, I already know that I'm going to do a project bag for some of my Halloween things. But this will be my notions bag to go with that. And I have this fabric somewhere with these people on it, but it wouldn't have occurred to me to make such a nice bag with it. So I'm going to enjoy that, and I thank her for that. And then I made a promise to myself that I was not going to keep buying things that I thought would make cute finishes someday, that I was going to make myself wait until I had actually finished the piece and then go looking for stuff to put in it. And that promise lasted about 3 days. So I keep finding things. It's like there was nothing that attracted me, and then once I started thinking of things in terms of what I could do with it, with some of the cross-stitch charts I have already, then I started picking stuff up. Before I get into the haul that I have for finishing projects, though, I want to pay tribute to Brandy at the Stitch Me. I did some rearranging in my craft room as I've been doing this house renovation, and I wanted to get all of my fabric, cross-stitch fabric, together and arrange it by, I have 14 Aida, I have 16 Aida is my favorite to work on. I have some 18s, some 20, and even a few pieces of linen that are very difficult for me to work on because of my vision problems, so I don't tend to get much of that. But as I was going through my 16s, I realized that I have been buying from Brandy for quite a while. And when you get all these fabrics of hers together, they make a really inspiring, gorgeous stack. So I just wanted to share that before I actually put it in the drawer until I need it. And there's a sale tonight, Friday night fight night, and I'm looking at it saying, well, I think I probably need some browns. Not so much, I'm not into neutrals. I'm going to want saturation whatever I use, but I could have used a better brown, I think, for that Thanksgiving piece. And so I'm going to be lurking there tonight to see if I can get some browns. Other news, haul news. I have been getting, well, let me do this. I bought a couple of Lindy Stitches pieces. I'm really addicted to her bird pieces. So I want to do Edna Goes to Brunch. And I think that I got from her the color stitches that I needed, the variegateds that I needed, I ordered from her. And now I have to fill in with DMC, although I am really excited about the spooled anchor that's showing up. The Michaels that I go to most often has it already, and I think maybe the Joanne had put it in. I'm hearing that Joanne has been putting it in. I haven't been to my mom's Joanne yet, but I think that might be the case. So I'm gonna do the anchor with Edna Goes to Brunch instead of the DMC for that, because I prefer the anchor saturation. I always have. It's just so easy to pick up the DMC because it was there. And then I also, this is the first Lindy Stitches I bought and fell in love with, Beach Dance. My late husband went on sabbatical. He was a college professor, biology teacher, and he went on sabbatical and went to the Galapagos and brought back pictures of the blue-footed boobies, and that's when I fell in love with them, the way they would actually do that with their feet. And they have these bright, gorgeous blue feet. And so as soon as I saw this, I had to order it. And then when I went in and found Edna, I realized they were by the same artist. And so I've got a little bit of a collection here going of Lindy Stitch's bird pieces. I also got, and I don't have that chart here. I don't know why I don't have it here. I'm a little bit concerned about that. But it's called, I don't remember what it's called. The word says nest on it. And I think I showed it in another video, but I got the colors from Gramma Stitchery to do that. And then one of the charts I have called for some ball downies, and they finally showed up. I think I'm sitting right here. There. Peach. These things. To be honest, I don't remember what these are for. 3 different colors of bricks. It's been so long since I ordered them. I got them from Stony Creek, and as you know, they're going through their own grieving process right now. But they did get them to me, and I'll connect them with their project here eventually. I've never used them before, but I'm looking forward to it. These are the ones that I just got. And I'm hoping to use, so these are the 430s that pop up in all, just a lot of different charts to use something in the 430 line. And so I always like to stock up on those when I can. But what I did was go through the new anchor display and buy some that could substitute in for these. So like I think that one will go in there, and this one. So I'll probably sub this one in for here. Close enough. And I'll probably sub this one in for here. Close enough. Just to give them a try, because I love anchor thread, and I hear people talking about using sulkies all the time, and what they like about it is just using one thread and not fighting the twisting and all of that. And then I picked up some white and some black, and then some of these colors that I'm using with Shores of Hawkrun Hollow. This color seems to pop up a lot, and as long as I'm not using it, changing colors in the middle of one of the blocks, I think I'll be okay subbing that in. So that was fun, and I'm excited about that. And my Michaels, believe it or not, is expanding their cross stitch aisle. So they had all of the DMC still. They had equipment in the middle, and then they had the anchor at the other end of one aisle, and then it went around the corner and back up halfway. And I had been able to get 14 count Aida in white, both at Michaels and Joann, but Michaels now had the 16-18 in white, and they might have had 20 as well. Anyway, they were offering several of these packages, the bigger packages, 29 inches by 36. So there's a whole yard here by 30 inches. And so I might try my hand at some dyeing when I get my courage up. Other than that, what I have are display stuff. I was really hoping to find someday an easel with a bird on it. And Michaels had it when I was there the other day. It's an oiled bronze, which I use all through my house. So I was really happy with that. And then The first thing I saw for finishing at Michael's this time for Halloween was this. It's a pretty good sized headstone. I love the shape of it. I said, no, 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 not until you have the piece finished for it. And then I remembered that for the magazine monthly, it's the only thing I was able to get started on. I had started working on this piece. And this was from the Cross Stitcher 2019. And it's a sampler. I fell in love with it. And I was using the various sections of it to work on for the magazine monthly prompt for that month. So I had the house, it had an open door. I had D, I think D was for door, and I had the doors open on the haunted house. I was able to work on the bat for some reason. I don't remember exactly. I think something was going to be, I went for the green on the poison apple, the owl, the vine, whatever the acrostic was, I was able to do a little bit of work on this to get into that. And this is the first time I used a toile. There's a big moon here, and it has a lot of this gold étoile in it. So anyway, when I remembered it as I was walking through the shop and saying, if you finish that sampler, I think this is going to be just the right size for that. I think it's actually going to fit on here. So I went back and got this because it says there's nothing that says you're going to be able to get this when you finally get that finished. So I rationalized, I bought it, and then I got to thinking about it and realized that I had already bought this piece. Kind of the plague skull. And I thought, so when you get it done, you can actually decorate up at the top here. Maybe one bow and this thing hanging, and then the sampler down here. I'll paint this black, of course. So I got really excited about that. Now I can't wait to get back to work on that sampler piece. And then the rest of this from Michael, mostly from Michael's and some from the dollar store. So the Michael's pieces were the bird easel, the headstone, and then this piece. And I think someone in one of the Flosstubes that I watched talked about this. I love plaid, and I love autumn plaid. And so this is, it's not a block, it's just a box. I might have to weight it, I'm not sure. But what was impressed this person, and it was impressing me, is that this is metal here. So I can finish a piece and just put magnets on it and move it in and out using this as my back. So that's why I bought that. At Home Goods yesterday, I found this. It was damaged and I didn't even realize it, but I've tried to put some paint on it, and I think eventually I'll be able to hide it. But it's on a turntable. So it's the Farm Fresh Pumpkins, but I think that one of Priscilla Blaine's pieces is going to fit perfectly here. And then you can turn it again and turn it again, and there's another blank side. So I think I'm working on Gobble right now, and I think I can finish it so that it fills this. And then there's one of her, well, there's like 3 or 4 of her Halloween pieces from last year that I really liked. Like Pumpkin Queen, I think I have that one out. Or Hey Pumpkin. Anyway, I think I can do that and finish those on here. Don't know if it's going to happen for this year, but I think that justified that. Then I went to the dollar store and oh no, wait, here's one more from Michael's. Kind of fell in love with this wonky hat from Michael's. I don't know that it's big enough to fit anything on here, but it could be attached to something as just as decor. And then in there used to be a $1 space, and it's more. I think this was $4, $4.99. But if you put it all together, it's a witch. So you're supposed to use the jute and hang the dress from the hat. But look what's in it. The famous witch's shoes. And so I said, oh, I'm getting that. And all I have to do now is get a box. You know, something, a basket or something, paint these black or put glitter on them or whatever. Paint the orange and black stripes. And I can put this in as a finishing piece. So I was happy about that. Because I love that piece that Priscilla and Chelsea finished with the upside down witch's the legs coming out the top. And then I went to Dollar Tree and lost my mind. This, I can't find another one. It's a light. Maybe. But I just want the figure. I just want the ship. For my, I think when I frame Shores of Hawk Run Hollow, I'm gonna put this ship kind of down in the corner as a decorative piece on that. And if I can ever find another one, I'll get another one, because it looks really cute just sitting on the shelf in my room. They had the same thing with a butterfly. I'm sure I can use that for something. Put it up next to me. They're not teeny, but they're also not huge. And then I got this. I think a piece in there might be really cute. I got things to decorate with. So this has stylized ladybugs and moths, some chalk tags. This one has dragonflies and ladybugs. And then I bought these. I'm not sure how I'm going to use them yet. But here's a cutout heart and a blank space. And I can see maybe some kind of little tiny sampler idea here for each of my grandsons with their picture in here. So I bought 4 of these. And then one more just to play with. And then I bought these big pieces, thinking to mount for the something patriotic on these. In fact, I think I bought 3 of them to do red, white, and blue. So red, white, and blue, that could be cute. And then there was a flower. And again, next to my head, these are not small. And then they have the heart, again for Dollar Tree. So they were $1 each. And then I got to thinking about it, and I went back a second time just to see if I was right. They had these, where you have one inside the other, and that fits over this. They're graduated like that. And I thought what I'm going to do with these is use these as templates to cut the sticky board. So I can cut a piece of sticky board this big and wrap it in fabric, and then I can cut my piece. Maybe my piece is this big and I can cut it in the shape of a star, or maybe it's this big and I can cut it in the shape of a star and wrap it and mount it on this. So I'm going to play with that idea, and then while I was at it, I said, let's do the same thing with the heart, because these are graduated like that. There's the big one, medium one, and the small one. So I'm going to play around with that. And then they also had small hearts, stars, heart stars, and flowers that can be painted or glittered. And they also had ladybugs, owls, and butterflies. So I ended up, after vowing that I was not going to stash stuff, this was from Michael's, their butterflies on key rings. I ended up with a huge stash of this wooden stuff. Is that it? Did I hit everything? I think I actually did for Flosstube. Kind of long, but I tried to keep it rolling. And now I feel so much better after our visit. Thank you very much for coming by. At least I hope you're coming by. I hope you don't think I'm a child abuser. I'm gonna go see what's going on with the jackhammer. See if that's actually working for them. Bye-bye. I'll see you next time. Oh wait, I'm back. I didn't get a chance to mention, I went on a whale watch Tuesday. For those who, I know that there are some of you who are into that. It was spectacular. And so when I post this Flosstube, I'm gonna put a link to the thing that I spent all day Wednesday editing to show you this incredible whale watch. In brief, we found a whale who did not stop breaching. It was amazing. So I'll post that, and I'll post a link down below when I get all this together. So now I get to go out to the jackhammer. Bye.